Sarah Martinez clutched her boarding pass as she navigated the chaotic Denver International Airport. The morning rush turned the terminal into a swirling sea of hurried travelers, each absorbed in their own journeys. Sarah, a seasoned business consultant with a background in pre-med and volunteer work at local hospitals, felt the familiar pull of home after 3 weeks advising a Colorado tech startup. Her red-eye flight to Miami promised to deliver her just in time for her daughter Emma's high school graduation, a milestone she refused to miss despite her demanding career. The security line snaked endlessly, a slow-moving barrier of impatience. Sarah shifted her laptop bag, glancing at her watch with growing anxiety. Gate B-23 seemed miles away, and boarding loomed close. As the line inched forward, her eyes caught a tall man 3 spots ahead. Dressed in a simple gray hoodie and jeans, his posture screamed military discipline, shoulders squared, stance, vigilant gaze scanning the crowd like a predator in wait. Sarah recognized the bearing from her years working with defense contractors. It was the mark of someone trained to face danger without flinching. But something was off. His face paled unnaturally, beads of sweat glistening despite the airport's crisp air conditioning. His breaths came in short, labored bursts as if he fought an invisible enemy. Sarah's volunteer experience at the hospital flashed warning signs this man teetered on the edge of collapse. The line shuffled again, and a family with bulky luggage obscured her view momentarily. When she saw him next, his hand pressed firmly against his left side jaw, clenched in evident agony. Blood seeped through his hoodie dark crimson, staining the fabric like ink on parchment. No one else noticed, lost in their phones or chatter. In an instant, he staggered, legs buckling, as he crashed to the tile floor, with a resounding thud that cut through the terminal's hum. Chaos erupted. Passengers recoiled, some fumbling for phones to record others shouting for help. The metallic tang of blood filled the air as Sarah knelt beside him, her nursing instincts overriding hesitation. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked, pressing her hands to the wound to stem the flow. Warm blood slicked her fingers, soaking through the cloth alarmingly fast. His eyes, glazed yet fierce, locked onto hers. "I'm fine," he rasped, voice gravelly with authority like a commander under fire. "Just need to get through security." But his grayish pallor screamed severe blood loss, and Sarah knew better. "You're not going anywhere like this. We need medical help now." TSA agents swarmed, radios crackling urgently, while the security scanners beeped on indifferently in the background. As paramedics pushed through the crowd, the man grabbed her wrist with surprising strength, pulling her close. His breath hot against her ear, he whispered desperately, "Listen carefully. There's a target on board flight 447 to Miami, the one you're taking." Sarah's heart iced over her crumpled boarding pass, suddenly heavy in her pocket. This stranger's warning shattered the ordinary chaos of travel, thrusting her into something far more sinister. Sarah's hands trembled as the paramedics lifted the man onto a stretcher, his blood staining her palms like a grim tattoo. His whispered warning echoed in her mind, a target on flight 447, her flight to Miami. The man's eyes, sharp despite his fading strength, held hers as he rasped, Navy SEAL Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison. "Targets in seat 12, see middle-aged dark hair traveling alone. Operation Sandstorm. Show them my badge inside pocket." His grip slackened as the medics rushed him toward the emergency exit, leaving Sarah frozen amidst the resuming bustle of Denver International Airport. Passengers returned to their routines, oblivious to the bomb Morrison had dropped in her lap. The fluorescent lights overhead glared harshly, casting stark shadows as Sarah's mind raced. Operation Sandstorm. A target on her flight. Her boarding pass, now speckled with Morrison's blood, felt like a ticking clock. She glanced at the gate, 35 minutes until boarding. Emma's graduation loomed, but so did the knot of fear tightening in her stomach. A TSA supervisor approached, clipboard in hand, her nameplate reading Janet Collins. "Ma'am, I need to ask you about the incident." She said, her tone professional but warm. Sarah's voice felt foreign as she replied, "He wasn't just having a medical emergency. He's a Navy SEAL, Jake Morrison. He warned me about a target on flight 447 seat 12C. Said it's tied to something called Operation Sandstorm." Collins' eyebrow arched, skepticism flickering. "People in shock can say wild things, ma'am. Blood loss causes confusion." Sarah's frustration flared. He knew my name never told him. He said to show his badge inside his jacket pocket. Can you check with the hospital? Collins scribbled a note, her expression softening, but unconvinced. The paramedics took him straight to surgery. No personal effects were left behind. If you're concerned, I can connect you with airport police. Sarah nodded, her resolve hardening. Within minutes, Officer David Park arrived, a serious man in his 40s with graying temples. Collins briefed him and Sarah repeated Morrison's warning, emphasizing the specific Seat 12C Operation Sandstorm. Park's polite skepticism mirrored Collins, but Sarah pressed call the hospital. Verify his identity. He said he's NCIS, tracking a dangerous target. Park hesitated, then spoke into his radio. Denver, this is airport police. Need info on a male patient, mid-30s, gunshot wound to the torso brought in recently. The radio crackled back, patient in surgery. Jake Morrison, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, carrying NCIS credentials, badge number 2847. Phone shows missed calls from Quantico. Sarah's heart skipped. Gunshot wound, not just injury. Morrison wasn't delusional. His warning was real. Park's demeanor shifted, eyes sharpening. NCIS credentials confirmed, he asked the radio. Affirmative. Attending physician found a federal badge. Park's radio buzzed again as he barked orders. All units to Terminal B Gout 23. Potential security threat on Flight 447. Contact FBI liaison now. Turning to Sarah, he said, Seat 12C. You're sure? Sarah nodded, clutching her boarding pass. He was specific. Middle-aged man, dark hair alone. Her phone rang, a Virginia area code flashing. Sarah Martinez, she answered, pulse racing. Commander Patricia Hayes, NCIS, came a crisp military voice. Morrison sent us your contact before losing consciousness. He's been tracking Dr. Marcus Webb, a Los Alamos chemist turned traitor. Webb's with a terrorist cell testing an undetectable explosive on your flight. Targets include 3 defense contractors on board. Sarah's legs weakened, and she sank into a chair near the gate. Why this flight, she asked. Hayes's voice was grim. Dual-purpose op, eliminate the contractors and field test the bomb. It mimics everyday materials, medication, electronics, and triggers at cruising altitude. Morrison infiltrated the cell in Prague 3 weeks ago, meeting a contact Victor who supplied Webb. Morrison was shot, likely by Webb, to silence him. Sarah's mind reeled. A terrorist on her flight, a bomb disguised as ordinary luggage, and Morrison bleeding out to warn her. Park returned, face ashen. Seat 12C is Dr. Marcus Webb, checked in an hour ago. Chemical engineer, Los Alamos. Sarah relayed this to Hayes, who confirmed that's our target. Morrison's intel says Webb's device is in a black bag, likely rigged to detonate over the Atlantic to look like an accident. Sarah stared at the gate where passengers were already lining up. What now? She asked Hayes. Webb's through security. We need eyes on that plane. FBI's mobilizing, but time's short. Sarah's heart pounded. Emma's text buzzed. Can't wait to see you, Mom. Don't be late. The innocent words clawed at her. I'll go, Sarah said, suddenly standing. Park protested, civilians don't enter active threats. But Sarah cut in. I'm already involved. Morrison trusted me. I've got pre-med training and crisis experience from volunteering. I can blend in as a passenger. Hayes's voice crackled through Park's radio. She's right. We need someone Webb won't suspect. After heated debate, Agent Rebecca Torres, FBI terrorism specialist, arrived. She pulled Sarah aside. Tell me everything Morrison said, word for word. Sarah recounted the warning. Seat 12C Operation Sandstorm, the badge. Torres nodded, typing furiously. Sandstorm's Morrison's code name for tracking Webb's cell. The bomb's a new compound, undetectable by scanners triggered by altitude or manually. Torres handed Sarah a discreet earpiece disguised as a hearing aid. Two-way comms. We'll hear you. You'll hear us. A bomb tech provided a chemical scanner, a smartphone look-alike. Get within 3 feet of Webb's bag, press the side button. It'll detect explosives. Sarah nodded, her throat dry. She was no agent yet. Here she was, armed with a fake hearing aid and a scanner, about to board a plane with a terrorist. Torres gripped her shoulder. Your job's to locate the device and confirm Webb. Don't play hero. Air Marshal Mike Chen's onboard seat 8A. He'll handle the arrest. Sarah glanced at the jet bridge where a flight attendant waved passengers forward. I'm ready, she said, though her racing heart disagreed. As she approached the gate, Torres' voice buzzed in her ear. All units, civilian Sarah Martinez is authorized to board flight 447. Federal operation, my authority. The attendant, surprised, scanned her pass. Ma'am, we're closing the door. You just made it. Sarah forced a smile, her mind flashing to Morrison's bloodied hoodie. Stepping onto the jet bridge, she knew there was no turning back. She was walking toward a man who'd already tried to kill a federal agent and might kill her next. Sarah boarded the plane, the recycled air sharp with cleaning chemicals. The cabin felt claustrophobic, seats packed tight. Her assigned seat, 15B, placed her 3 rows behind Webb's 12C. Welcome aboard, a flight attendant chirped. We're about to start the safety briefing. Sarah nodded, her eyes scanning seat numbers. 10A, 10B, 10C. Her pulse quickened. 11A, 11B, 11C. Torres' voice whispered through the earpiece. Martinez, you hear us? Sarah coughed once, their signal for yes. Good. Chen's in 8A, left side. Passing row 8, she locked eyes with a man in a suit reading a magazine. His subtle nod confirmed he was the air marshal. Relief flickered, she wasn't alone. Row 12 appeared and Sarah's breath caught. The man in 12C matched Morrison's description, mid-40s, dark hair alone. He pored over a technical journal, pages dense with equations and chemical formulas. More chilling, faint brown stains marred his shirt cuff, dried blood, unmistakable to Sarah's trained eye. As she passed, she stumbled, grabbing the armrest of 12A for balance. It gave her a clear look at Webb's face, cold, calculating eyes, a mind both brilliant and deadly. Excuse me, she said, feigning embarrassment. These aisles are tight. Webb barely glanced up, irritation flashing, but his hand moved protectively to a black bag under his seat. The gesture was subtle, but screamed intent. Sarah reached her seat, heart hammering. She'd confirmed Webb's identity and spotted the bag. Now she needed to get close enough to scan it without tipping him off. The grandmother in 15A smiled, knitting a baby blanket. Visiting family in Miami, she asked warmly. My daughter's graduation, Sarah replied, forcing calm as her mind screamed. A terrorist is 3 rows ahead with a bomb. The weight of those 247 lives pressed down, and she knew the real mission was just beginning. Sarah settled into seat 15B, her heart hammering as she stole glances at Dr. Marcus Webb 3 rows ahead. The man in 12C, engrossed in his technical journal, exuded a chilling calm, but the faint bloodstains on his shirt cuff screamed danger. His black bag, tucked protectively under the seat, was likely the hiding place for the undetectable explosive. Commander Hayes had described a device designed to mimic everyday items triggered by the pressure change at 30,000 feet or a manual switch. Sarah's earpiece crackled softly. Martinez, we need a scan of that bag, Agent Torres whispered. Get close, but don't raise suspicion. The grandmother beside Sarah, still knitting her baby blanket, chatted warmly. Graduations are so special. Is your daughter excited? Sarah forced a smile, her voice steady despite the dread pooling in her stomach. She's thrilled. It's a big day. Every word felt like a lie as she eyed Webb's subtle movements, his hand occasionally brushing the bag as if ensuring its safety. The cabin's recycled air grew stifling, the hum of the engines, a constant reminder of the ticking clock. The pilot's voice broke through the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. We're awaiting final clearance from air traffic control. Webb's head snapped up, his eyes narrowing as he checked his watch. A flicker of agitation crossed his face and Sarah's pulse spiked. He was suspicious. She unbuckled her seatbelt, whispering into her earpiece. I'm moving. The grandmother frowned. Everything okay, dear? Sarah nodded. Just need the restroom before takeoff. She stood clutching the disguise chemical scanner and walked toward the forward restroom 2 rows past Webb. As she passed his seat, she slowed, pretending to adjust her shoe. Webb's journal lay open, equations sprawling across the page, but her eyes locked on the black bag. She pointed the scanner, disguised as a smartphone, and pressed the side button. The device vibrated twice, confirming explosive compounds. Her breath caught, proof of the bomb, but Webb's head jerked up, his cold eyes meeting hers. Can I help you? He snapped, his Eastern European accent sharp. Sarah's heart lurched, but she played it off. Oh, sorry, just admiring your gadgets. I'm in tech consulting, love seeing new gear. Webb's gaze hardened, his hand tightening on the bag. It's medical equipment. I'm a doctor. His tone was curt, dismissive, but his eyes screamed paranoia. What kind of medicine? Sarah pressed, hoping to keep him talking. Research, he said, slamming the bag shut and sliding it back under the seat. I don't discuss it with strangers. She returned to her seat, her earpiece buzzing with Torres' voice. Good work, Martinez. Scanner confirms explosives. We've got probable cause. But Sarah's stomach twisted. Webb's demeanor had shifted. He was typing furiously on his phone, his posture tense alert. Her clumsy questions had likely triggered his suspicion. The grandmother leaned over, concerned. You look pale, dear. Nervous flyer, Sarah shook her head, unable to answer, as she watched Webb stand abruptly black, bag in hand, and move toward the cockpit door. Martinez, what's he doing? Torres' voice was urgent. Sarah coughed twice their danger signal and whispered, He's at the flight deck inspecting it. Agent Chen's voice cut in. I see him. He's pulling something from the bag. Sarah's blood ran cold. Webb returned to his seat, but his movements were deliberate, like a predator preparing to strike. The pilot's voice came again. We've got clearance. Flight attendants prepare for pushback. The plane lurched, rolling away from the gate. Sarah's window showed FBI agents and bomb techs watching helplessly as Flight 447 taxied toward the runway. Torres' voice crackled. Air traffic control. This is Agent Torres. Flight 447 cannot take off. Active bomb threat. But the pilot's next words chilled her. We're experiencing communication issues with ground control. Proceeding with departure while maintenance investigates. Chen whispered. Something's jamming the radio. Webb's prepared for this. The plane turned onto the runway, engines roaring. Webb's cold smile returned as he pulled a modified tablet from his bag wires, trailing to a metal cylinder wrapped in plastic, a compact, deadly device. Sarah's earpiece erupted with Chen's voice. It's pressure-activated, set for cruising altitude, but he's got a manual trigger. If he knows we're onto him, he could detonate now. Sarah whispered, He's holding the trigger. We're running out of time. The aircraft's nose lifted the ground, falling away as Denver's lights faded below. Webb's agitation grew, his thumb hovering over the trigger. Sarah's mind raced. Chen couldn't approach without being seen. The narrow aisle gave Webb a clear view. She whispered, The flight attendants. They move freely. I'll distract him. Before Torres could object, Sarah stood walking toward the forward galley. She caught the lead flight attendant, Jennifer, and said loudly, I'm feeling sick. I might throw up. Jennifer rummaged through a medical kit, her attention on Sarah. Sarah positioned herself to see Webb and mouthed now to Chen, seated in 8A. Chen slid out, moving swiftly toward row 12, but Webb's head snapped up, spotting Chen in row 10. His eyes widened, hand tightening on the trigger. Federal Agent Chen shouted, drawing his weapon. Nobody move! Screams filled the cabin as passengers ducked flight attendants, scrambling to calm the chaos. Webb stood holding the bomb trigger high. Stay back, he bellowed, his accent thick. One step and I kill everyone. The plane climbed the altimeter, ticking toward 30,000 feet. Chen froze. Weapon raised but useless, a stray shot could hit passengers or trigger the bomb. Dr. Marcus Webb Chen called, You're under arrest for terrorism. Put it down. Webb laughed bitterly. This isn't just about these passengers. It's a test for a weapon your security can't detect. Today I prove it works. Tomorrow my associates strike nationwide. Sarah's blood froze. Morrison was right. This was bigger than one flight. She stepped into the aisle, ignoring Chen's warning glance. Dr. Webb, you're ruining your experiment, she said, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. Webb's eyes narrowed. Who are you? Sarah lied smoothly. A consultant in experimental design. Manual detonation at low altitude invalidates your pressure trigger data. Your associates need proof it works at cruising altitude, not a rushed explosion. Webb's hand lowered slightly, his scientist mind hooked. Go on, he said cautiously. Sarah edged closer. Peer review will tear your results apart if you deviate. The bomb's designed for 30,000 feet, right? Prove it works as intended. Chen inched forward, but Webb snapped. Stop, I'm not stupid. The altimeter hit 25,000 feet. 5,000 to go before the bomb's automatic trigger. Sarah's mind flashed to Morrison's words about Webb's Prague meeting. You're right, she said, gambling. But Victor in Prague manipulated you. Morrison photographed your deals, recorded your calls. He knew everything, your money transfers, your contacts. Webb's face paled. Impossible. I was careful. Sarah pressed Morrison's alive in surgery. He'll testify about your entire network, including Victor. Chen caught her play. Your operation's blown, Webb. We know about Victor Berlin, all of them. Detonating won't save your cell. It'll just add murder to your charges. Webb's eyes darted across the cabin, taking in the grandmother, knitting a young couple, laughing over a tablet, a mother soothing her crying child. Doubt cracked his cold facade. They said this plane carried military targets, he muttered, voice wavering. Look around, Sarah said softly. These are families, students, kids, not soldiers. The altimeter hit 28,000 feet. Webb's hand shook, tears streaming down his face. I can't disarm it, he confessed. The pressure trigger's armed. At 30,000 it goes off. Chen grabbed his radio. Emergency descent now. The pilot's voice blared. This is Captain Rodriguez. Emergency descent. Return to your seats. The plane's nose dropped, Sarah's stomach lurching as they plunged. The bomb's beeping accelerated, counting down. 20 seconds, Webb shouted. At 10 seconds, the beeping became a steady tone. Chen tackled Webb, wrestling for the device. 5 seconds. Sarah braced, thinking of Emma. 3 seconds. The beeping stopped. The altimeter showed 29,900 feet. They dropped below the trigger altitude with a second to spare. Chen cuffed Webb passengers, sobbing in relief as the plane leveled off, bound for an emergency landing. The plane touched down in Kansas City, tires screeching against the runway as emergency vehicles swarmed the tarmac. Sarah gripped her armrest, the cabin filled with sobs of relief and hushed prayers. Flight attendants moved swiftly, calming passengers, while FBI agents boarded their jackets emblazoned with bold letters. Agent Chen escorted the handcuffed Webb down the aisle, his face a mask of defeat, the disarmed bomb secured in a containment unit by bomb technicians. Torres met Sarah at the exit, her expression a mix of gratitude and exhaustion. You saved everyone, Martinez. Webb's device is neutralized. His confession will help dismantle the cell. Sarah stepped onto the pavement, the cool night air a stark contrast to the cabin's tension. Her phone buzzed. Commander Hayes. Morrison's out of surgery, stable. He wants to thank you personally. Sarah's eyes welled. The SEAL's warning had averted disaster. As passengers reunited with loved ones on the ground, Sarah thought of the lives spared, the grandmother's first grandchild, the young couple's future, the mother's child. Days later, Sarah arrived in Miami, hugging Emma tightly at the graduation ceremony. You made it, Mom, Emma said, beaming under her cap. Sarah smiled, but her mind wandered to the aftermath. Webb's interrogation revealed his network's plans, multiple attacks using undetectable bombs. NCIS and FBI raids in Prague and Berlin captured Victor and key associates, preventing a wave of terror. Webb's explosive formula led to upgraded airport scanners nationwide, a silent legacy of the crisis. Sarah returned to consulting, but with a new purpose, volunteering to train civilians on spotting threats, unusual behavior, unattended bags, the importance of reporting instincts. Anyone can make a difference, she told groups, drawing from her experience. Morrison recovered fully, calling her one evening. You finished what I started, he said gruffly. Thank you. Sarah hung up, staring at the Miami skyline. A simple airport collapse had thrust her into heroism, reminding her that ordinary moments held extraordinary potential. In a world of hidden dangers, vigilance and courage turned strangers into saviors, ensuring safe journeys home.